Los Angeles has never been short on mansions. But every once in a generation, a house appears that isn't trying to impress the city. It's trying to rule it. Not with size. Not with gold. Not with loud architecture screaming for validation. But with something far more powerful. Influence. Perched high above the velvet chaos of Hollywood, where the skyline dissolves into ocean haze and helicopter lights trace silent paths through the night sky, there is a residence designed for the people who move culture itself. Not actors. Not celebrities. The ones behind them. The producers who greenlight billion-dollar films. The media moguls who decide what the world watches next. The architects of influence. This is the Hollywood powerhouse. A concept mansion built for the rare individuals who don't just participate in the entertainment industry. They control its gravity. From the street below, the house appears almost impossibly composed, a long horizontal silhouette floating above the hillside like a private studio lot suspended in the sky. Concrete, glass, and obsidian steel stretch across the ridge in razor-sharp geometry. Minimal. Precise. Dominant. The entrance is deliberately understated. A single black stone driveway winds through sculpted olive trees and discreet lighting embedded into the ground, guiding arriving vehicles upward toward a floating canopy. No oversized gates. No palace theatrics. Because the people who live here don't need their house to shout their status. The entire industry already knows their name. A convoy of matte black SUVs glides silently under the canopy. Cameras flash somewhere down in the valley where paparazzi hunt for glimpses of whoever might be visiting tonight. But the moment the vehicles enter the property line, the outside world disappears. Biometric glass doors slide open without sound. And suddenly, Hollywood is behind you. Inside, the first thing that hits you is space. A triple-height great room opens toward the skyline like a private observation deck over Los Angeles. Floor-to-ceiling glass walls dissolve the boundary between interior and horizon. At night, the entire city becomes the house's living artwork. Billions of lights flicker beneath the terrace, the studios, the boulevards, the endless neighborhoods where millions watch the content created by the people who gather inside this home. The flooring is seamless Italian limestone stretching across the entire ground level like a continuous stage. Because this house was designed with a simple philosophy. Everything here is a set. A massive floating staircase spirals upward in sculptural silence, crafted from blackened steel and dark oak. Above it hangs a kinetic chandelier, hundreds of glass prisms shifting subtly with the airflow, scattering light like fragments of paparazzi flashes. Every line of the architecture directs your attention outward, toward the city, toward the stage, toward the empire below. To the left of the great room sits the power lounge. This isn't a typical living room. This is where deals happen. Low modular sofas wrapped in hand-stitched Italian leather form a conversation pit surrounding a monolithic marble table carved from a single slab of Nero Port Oro stone. Integrated lighting beneath the table creates the illusion that the entire surface is floating. Walls of smoked glass hide embedded screens that activate only when needed. Streaming analytics. Box office dashboards. Global audience metrics. Because in this house, entertainment isn't just art. It's data. Behind the lounge, a private whiskey gallery stretches along a temperature-controlled wall, displaying rare bottles collected from around the world, Japanese single malts, Scottish legends older than the careers of most directors, and limited-release bourbons reserved for nights when a billion-dollar contract is about to be signed. But the real centerpiece of the ground level sits beyond a pair of acoustic glass doors. A corridor lined with dark walnut panels. Soft lights embedded into the floor guide the path forward like runway lights leading into something monumental. At the end of that corridor, the house reveals its true heart. A theater unlike anything found in a traditional mansion. Because this isn't just a screening room. This is where influence becomes reality. A private IMAX-level cinema engineered to rival the world's most advanced theaters. 30 seats. Each one custom-molded. Each one positioned with mathematical precision. Walls wrapped in acoustic velvet absorb every whisper of sound while a curved screen stretches across the entire front of the room like a portal into another universe. Dolby Atmos speakers are hidden behind architectural panels, creating a soundscape so immersive the room itself seems to disappear once the film begins. Directors premiere cuts here. Producers test audience reactions here. And sometimes, a single decision made in this room will determine what the entire world watches next summer. But the Hollywood powerhouse doesn't stop at entertainment. Because influence rarely sleeps. Above the theater, the upper levels of the estate expand into something even more strategic. Private creative studios, executive suites, and an entire wing dedicated to the art of shaping global culture. And high above it all, waiting at the very top of the structure, is the place where Hollywood's most powerful nights truly begin. A rooftop designed for the kind of gatherings where careers are launched, franchises are born, and the next decade of entertainment quietly takes shape under the California stars. And that is where the story of this house becomes even more dangerous. Because once the sun disappears behind the Pacific, the Hollywood powerhouse transforms, and the real influence begins. When the sun finally disappears behind the Pacific, Los Angeles changes personality. Daytime Hollywood runs on cameras, meetings, contracts, and deadlines. Nighttime Hollywood runs on whispers. And this house was designed for that version of the city. The second level of the Hollywood powerhouse is where creativity becomes strategy, where the entertainment industry's most powerful minds gather long before the cameras ever start rolling. A corridor wrapped in matte black oak runs across the length of the estate, illuminated by a thin ribbon of warm light embedded into the ceiling. Every door along this hallway leads to a space designed not for comfort, but for creation. The first door opens into the Story Lab, a circular writer's studio built like a modern war room for storytelling. The walls are lined with interactive glass panels that can display entire narrative structures, timelines, character arcs, visual references, box office projections. In the center of the room sits a massive round table carved from dark volcanic stone. No head of the table. No hierarchy. Just ideas. This is where producers sit with directors, writers, and creative strategists to break apart scripts before they become global franchises. Entire cinematic universes can begin as a quiet conversation inside this room. And unlike a traditional studio environment, there are no executives interrupting the process. No studio deadlines breathing down anyone's neck. Because the person who owns this house is the executive. Across the hallway sits the private studio suite. For the music industry, this is where chart-topping records quietly begin their lives. The room is acoustically engineered with floating walls and layered insulation that eliminates external vibration. Instruments line one side of the room, vintage synthesizers, grand pianos, custom guitars, while a state-of-the-art digital production console sits beneath a curved panoramic screen displaying audio waveforms and mixing controls. Some nights, a global superstar may step inside this room with nothing but a melody. Hours later, they leave with the next song the entire world will hear on repeat. But the Hollywood powerhouse was never meant to serve only one corner of the entertainment industry. Just beyond the studio suite is something far more private. The executive strategy room. Unlike the cinematic energy of the rest of the house, this room feels almost surgical in its precision. The design is minimal to the point of intimidation. A long obsidian conference table stretches across the center of the room beneath a single suspended light fixture. No artwork. No decoration. Just glass walls overlooking the glowing grid of Los Angeles. Inside this room, conversations rarely involve scripts or music. They involve acquisitions, distribution rights, streaming wars, media empires. It's where billion-dollar decisions happen quietly, without press releases or cameras. Where entertainment moguls negotiate the future of global platforms while the rest of the industry speculates from afar. But influence isn't built purely on strategy. It's built on relationships. And the Hollywood powerhouse understands this better than any estate in the city. Which is why the entire rear wing of the second level opens into the private creator lounge. Floor-to-ceiling glass doors slide away, revealing a long indoor-outdoor space overlooking the canyon lights below. A sculptural fireplace runs through the center of the room, dividing clusters of seating areas where conversations drift between film, music, technology, and culture. Directors sit beside tech founders. Actors speak with venture capitalists. Musicians exchange ideas with fashion designers. This is where industries collide. Because modern entertainment isn't just movies or music anymore. It's ecosystems. And the people invited into this house are the ones shaping those ecosystems. A floating bar carved from translucent stone glows softly beneath hidden lighting, serving rare spirits and custom cocktails designed by private mixologists. Behind the bar, an illuminated wall displays a rotating collection of vintage Hollywood photographs. Not the polished publicity images everyone recognizes, but the behind-the-scenes moments. Young directors before their first Oscar. Actors rehearsing on dusty sound stages. Producers standing on chaotic film sets decades ago. A reminder that every empire in Hollywood started somewhere smaller. But the most dramatic moment on this level happens when the glass doors at the far end of the lounge slowly slide open. Cool night air flows into the room. Music drifts upward from above. And a staircase made entirely of illuminated glass leads toward the final level of the estate. The rooftop. This is where the Hollywood powerhouse stops pretending to be a residence and becomes a stage. Because above the strategy rooms and creative studios lies something far more powerful than architecture. A place designed for the nights when the most influential people in entertainment gather under one sky. No press, no cameras, no red carpet, just power. And the rooftop of this mansion was engineered to handle it all. Every city has a few rooftops where history quietly happens. In New York, deals that reshape industries are signed above Manhattan's skyline. In London, private clubs host conversations that ripple through global finance. And in Los Angeles, the future of entertainment is often decided under the night sky. At the very top of the Hollywood powerhouse, the rooftop terrace stretches across the entire length of the estate like a floating boulevard above the city. From here, Los Angeles feels endless. The lights of downtown flicker in the distance like a digital constellation. The Hollywood hills dissolve into shadows, and somewhere far beyond the horizon, the Pacific Ocean reflects faint silver under the moonlight. But the rooftop itself commands just as much attention as the view. This isn't a typical luxury terrace. This is a private entertainment platform designed for gatherings powerful enough to reshape the culture of an entire industry. The space is divided into several architectural zones, each designed to serve a different kind of moment. At the center sits the Sky Lounge, a massive open-air living space framed by low black stone walls and modular seating wrapped in weatherproof Italian leather. Fire features are embedded directly into the floor, thin ribbons of flame dancing across the stone surface like controlled lightning. Above, an invisible canopy system can deploy at a moment's notice. Transparent panels sliding into place to protect the gathering without blocking the stars. On one side of the lounge stands the rooftop cinema wall, a massive retractable LED display capable of projecting film footage, live performances, or visual art across an ultra-wide screen. During major gatherings, directors preview upcoming projects here while producers, actors, and investors watch from custom lounge seating scattered across the terrace. No velvet ropes. No press photographers. Just the people who actually decide whether a project becomes a global phenomenon. Further down the rooftop lies the performance deck. A sleek, elevated platform surrounded by discreet lighting and high-fidelity sound systems. This is where private performances happen, surprise concerts, acoustic sets, or DJ sessions that stretch late into the night while the skyline glows beneath the crowd. Some nights a Grammy-winning artist may step onto the stage without announcement. Other nights, the platform becomes a dance floor for 100 of the most powerful people in the entertainment industry. Because influence often grows strongest in moments that feel effortless. At the far edge of the rooftop sits the Infinity Edge Pool, a long ribbon of dark water stretching toward the horizon. The pool's edge disappears into the skyline, creating the illusion that the water flows directly into the lights of Los Angeles below. Floating fire bowls burn quietly along the perimeter. Glass walkways cross sections of the pool, allowing guests to move through the terrace while reflections of the city shimmer beneath their feet. And just beyond the pool, perhaps the most strategic feature of the entire mansion. A private aerial arrival pad integrated into the structure of the roof. Not a loud, oversized helipad that dominates the architecture. Just a seamless landing zone engineered for discreet helicopter arrivals when privacy matters more than spectacle. Because the people who visit this house often travel between studios, production locations, and business meetings across the city in ways that bypass traffic entirely. The Hollywood powerhouse understands this rhythm. Speed, access, control. Everything about the design reflects the lifestyle of someone operating at the highest levels of the entertainment world. But beyond the architecture, beyond the glass and steel and cinematic lighting, what truly defines this house is the kind of nights it creates. Imagine a warm California evening. Music drifting across the terrace. Film producers leaning against the glass railing discussing a project that doesn't officially exist yet. An actor laughing with a director whose last film just broke global box office records. A tech billionaire quietly introducing a new streaming platform to a handful of executives. Ideas move between conversations like electricity. A new movie franchise begins as a casual pitch beside the fire lounge. A record label partnership forms over whiskey near the pool. A director screens 10 minutes of unfinished footage on the rooftop cinema wall, and by midnight, 3 investors have already committed to the project. No announcements. No press coverage. Just influence moving through the room like gravity. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the owner of the Hollywood powerhouse stands quietly observing the skyline. Not chasing attention. Not performing for cameras. Simply watching the industry they helped shape unfold beneath them. Because that's the real purpose of this mansion. It isn't just a home. It's a headquarters for cultural gravity. A place where stories begin, where empires expand, and where the next era of entertainment quietly takes its first breath. Hollywood has thousands of mansions. But only a few houses ever hold real power. And the Hollywood powerhouse was built for exactly that.